What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Predictions. I'm gonna be breaking down Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa at UFC 253. I'm so fucking hyped for this fight. This is a great fucking fight, but let's talk about the goddamn stats. Israel Adesanya comes in 19-0, fights at Auckland, New Zealand, age 31, 6'4", and a reach of 80. Costa 13-0, fights out of Brazil, age 29, height 6'1", and a reach of 72. In terms of notable wins for Adesanya, you're looking at really Yoel Romero, if you can really count that. I don't really count it because I kind of low-key felt like Yoel won. I might get some hate for that. But also, it really was, to some people, a big letdown. Now, for me, stylistically, he did the right thing. I will defend him on that. If you ask me what would I do in that situation, I would do what he did. I'm not going to get hit by Yoel fucking Romero. That's Yoel fucking Romero. And you fucking little kids that thought he was going to walk over Yoel Romero and shit like that. Like I know a lot of people thought, oh, he can't take down. He doesn't want to take Adesanya down. He's not a wrestler. He's not. Like, I know he's an Olympian, but like in MMA, he's not a fucking wrestler. Like, don't even consider him that. But, it's just he did the right thing. But the problem was the way he acted before and after. Right? Saying that he was gonna fucking tear him down like the Twin Towers, and he was gonna finish him late, and then after he said, look at his leg, and then you wonder why this fight took so long to make. By the way, from what was it, March? Was it March? When was that fucking fight? I'm assuming March or February. It's March, right? From March to September, if you were wondering why it took so long, because he had fucking cleanup surgery on his foot, all right? Or I think it was on his foot or his knee or whatever where it was on, all right? That's why it took so goddamn long to book this fight, right, after that. So, if anyone got hurt, it was him, it is what it is. But, like, in terms of notable ones, you're looking at Robert Whittaker, Kelvin Gastelum, and probably, like, Anderson Silva for Adesanya. I just had to get that off my chest. I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm just like, it's insane because like he could have honestly saved himself. I really do believe that if he just stopped from being a goddamn cringe bag, right, and had an honest moment and told the fans straight up, like, hey, that is a goddamn killer of a man, instead of saying, oh, he didn't want to participate with me. What are you talking? It's a fucking. It's not his job to go out there like a dummy and get caught by stuff you want to throw. All right, like, don't shut up, man. Dumbass, man. Hate that goddamn dude. But Costa, you're looking at the same thing. Yoel Romero, Uriah Hall, and kind of like Johnny Hendricks, the late great Johnny Hendricks, because that day Johnny Hendricks died. But, yeah, and same thing with Costa. I'm not going to just give and say I feel like Romero beat Adesanya. I'm also going to give that same criticism to Costa. I feel like Yoel Romero won that fight too. But I'm obviously a Romero fucking mark, and I'm super biased. So you can take that into consideration and throw away my opinion on those fucking fights. But, yeah, you look at those two situations. But here's the difference between the Costa fight with Romero and the Adesanya fight with Romero. Even though I felt like Romero edged it, Costa came at that dude from minute 1 to minute 15 like a goddamn demon out of fucking hell. I have never seen anyone go at that against Yoel Romero and survive, and not get fucking decapitated, right? So, I got to give him a lot of credit. But this fight, I know a lot of people might be like, oh, it's just a number one contender versus, the champion. And it is that. But this is a fight that's been brewing for like 2 years. It kind of started really all kind of in the same night of UFC 226 when DC won the heavyweight title against Stipe Miocic. On that card of UFC 226, Costa fight Uriah Hall had phenomenal performance. The body shots, everything he did in that fight was phenomenal. And the day before, on Friday, on the Ultimate Fighter finale, Adesanya had a fucking clinic on Brad Tavares for 5 rounds. So this was a matchup kind of people were looking at. I was like, oh, they're gonna book this or something like that. And then But we were like, we don't think so, right? And then Adesanya goes on the Joe Rogan podcast and basically says straight up, I want to fight Paulo Costa, right? And he kind of just, he plants the seeds in there. I will give him that. He forecasts the future really well. I will say that. I remember, and I saw an interview after he beat, I think, Rob Wilkinson. And he was talking crazy. Man, I was like, dude, this kid's fucking insane, right? He was like, in 2 years, I'm gonna fight Robert Whitaker for the title. I was like, who the fuck does this kid think he is? I'll give him one thing: he's accomplished a lot of his goals, right? So right now, he's accomplished this goal of getting this fight with Costa. I will say one thing: it was interesting if you watch the interview with that. He talks about the story about. He wanted to go fight Costa, how he talked to Dana. He was like, hey, I want to fight Costa. And he was like, nah, we're going to set it up. We want you guys to be big stars. We want Costa to be big, and we want you to be big, and we want a title fight. And it's insane that this is the position we're in, that they actually are fighting for a title. So he kind of forecasts the future. And then, Adesanya goes and does his thing, goes on his little streak. I think after Brad Tavares, it was Brunson, Anderson, Kelvin, and then he beat Whitaker for the title. And then Costa had a weird issue. He took a whole year off or something like that, basically, after the Uriah Hall fight. And then he eventually got to fight fucking Yoel Romero and had that amazing fight. And then you already know what happens after that, right? So these guys get matched up. On paper, I look at this fight. There's a lot of things you gotta look at it, but it's the Matador versus the Bull, right? Costa's going to be chasing him, and Adesanya is going to be, kind of running away and picking his shots. But I think another angle that no one's really looking at it is the coaching, right? So both coaches are going at it. You got fucking Captain America, fucking Eric, I think Albina, I think that's how you say his name, and fucking Eugene Behrman going at it, right? And you got to look at that from that angle, because here's the thing. I don't think no one has anything against Adesanya in general. But I do feel like I think the MMA community did not like the way City Kickboxing came out, because they came out pretty disrespectful. I really noticed them in really in the end of 2018, where they just started coming up, and they had this little attitude like, we just came in y'all yard and we finna take over. And they took over. Volkanovski did great work. Adesanya's doing great work. Now Dan Hooker's been in MMA for a minute. A lot of people, I don't have no problem. I love Dan Hooker. I'm a big Dan Hooker fan, and people are asking me like, why are you such an Adesanya fan? No, you're such an Adesanya hater. Why do you love Hooker so much? And it's like, you can tell there's a grind, right? And that's my problem with Adesanya. And I think that's why some of the MMA community doesn't like this fool, and their team, is because there isn't a big grind. All right, let me ask you a question. Let's say Marvin Vettori got the wins Adesanya got, right? Let's look at this path to a title shot that he got, right? Rob Wilkinson, all right? Marvin Vettori, Brad Tavares, Derek Brunson. Actually, let's not even add Rob Wilkinson and Marvin. Brad Tavares, Derek Brunson, Anderson Silva. Do you think if Marvin Vettori got those wins, you think he's getting a title shot? And do not tell me that, Whitaker got injured and this and that, and that's why he got... No, it's not about... I don't have a problem with him getting the title shot with Kelvin Gastelum. He said in an interview, I'll even show you guys the interview, that he was going to get the title shot after Anderson Silva. He said that they were going to set up a stare down right after Whitaker or Kelvin wins the title. So no matter what, he was going to get a title shot after Anderson Silva. No matter fucking what. They said it to him. Do you think Marvin Vettori would get that opportunity? Do you think Omar Makadev would get that opportunity? All right? Do you think Bevon Lewis would get that? Do I have to go down the list? You can tell there's an obvious bias. He is a corporate champion. That is the fucking truth. That is nothing but the truth. There is no grind to this guy. He's been given opportunity after opportunity. That's why people don't like him. That's why I don't like him. He's had it easy. All right? I'm sorry. Okay? He had this audacity to say something about Darren Till. Darren Till has to grind for this. Dude, you didn't fucking grind for this, man. Shut up, man. Like, it's fucking annoying. But Now, you could say the same thing about Costa, right? You can say the same thing. He's been kind of like pushed to a title shot, right? I felt like, I wouldn't say he's pushed to a title. I think he got pushed to that Yoel Romero fight pretty soon, which was pretty crazy, I thought. But here's, at the end of the day, you got two guys that are in the same situation. You got two newcomers that I felt like didn't really go through the division that I would like them to go through. Like, lightweight, you got to make a run, right? You got to, like, look at Justin Gaethje, right? Look at the run he had to make, right? You know, against killers, okay? Nothing against Anderson Silva, but it's not like he was fighting Anderson Silva, like, you know, I don't want to disrespect Anderson, right? And say, like, oh, he's an old man, but, like, let's say it from this. Anderson wasn't even fucking ranked. I'm not even attacking his age. He wasn't even fucking ranked, right? Because I don't like taking away wins from people based on certain circumstances, right? I just don't like it. It might be the wrestler in me, but, like, I don't like excuses, right? But he wasn't even fucking ranked. They had to cap it. They had to give him a number 15 ranking, so it seemed a little fair. He wasn't even fucking ranked. He shouldn't even been ranked, man. Like, look, where's Anderson Silva now, right? Fucking what? Getting destroyed by Jared Cannonier? Like, it's insanity how, you know, I'm rambling off too much about this, but let's talk about the fucking fight, right? And I've talked a lot about the backstory, the background, all that. But let's talk about the juicy things, right? What does Costa do well, and what does Adesanya do well, right? When I look at this fight, I see it primarily being the striking. So a lot of people might be like, oh, it's going to be a kickboxing match, right? So fucking Adesanya wins. No, it's not going to be like a fucking kickboxing match, dude. It's MMA. You look at the glove sizes, you look at the clinching, and you look at how long, and the takedowns. But I know Costa's not going to go for takedowns, but here's one thing I will say. I think Costa is going to clinch up a lot in this fight against Adesanya. He has to do that. You know, he has to wear on Adesanya. And one of the things that separates Costa from a lot of Adesanya's opponents are the body shots, right? What does he do well? Those body shots, right? And his pressure and everything he uses in his offensive boxing, and he's always in the pocket, right? So I was talking to some of my homies, and they were like, I feel like Kelvin Gastelum is a little better than Costa. And I will say, overall, in the overall spectrum of an MMA fighter, Kelvin has decent wrestling. He has really good boxing pressure. He's decent all around, right? So overall, I'd give him that edge, right? And you know, and he's a good, if at his right weight, he's a top 5 like welterweight in my humble opinion, and he was a top 5 middleweight. So it is what it is. But I feel like Costa, with his boxing in the pocket, right? He does a lot more work to the body. Like, Kelvin's a bit of a headhunter, so there's a diversity to Costa, right? His switch kick, it's beautiful. Right? So one thing I think that gives Costa an edge in this fight, and where I can see him winning this fight, is attacking that body. Right? He puts a really big output. It's kind of like the Jose Aldo thing. He'll beat you the fuck up for the first 3 rounds, and then usually, like, if you look at a lot of the earlier opponents, they were just so beat up they couldn't really recuperate. You know, look, fucking what was his name? Mark Hominick, right? The guy that had, like, the big fucking bump on his head, like, Aldo fucking murdered that guy, right? So, you know, I think that's what Costa's really looking forward to, really beat up on Adesanya, so the cardio disadvantage that he has against Adesanya won't play a major factor. And now, since I brought it up, the cardio, that's something we got to talk about. Even though I said a lot of good things about Costa, and also, here's one thing I will say. The last thing about Costa, and then I'll talk about Adesanya, right? He has put himself near some great people, right? I don't know if he was with Eric Albina. I feel like, is it Albina? I don't know if I'm saying his last name right. The coach, Captain America, whatever they want to call him, right? He's been with him. I felt like I started noticing him around Costa near the Yoel Romero build-up, right? And, he was hanging around with Cejudo and stuff like that. And I seen that Cejudo was a big part of this camp. He's been surrounding himself with greatness for a long time, right? And I like the people he surrounded. He got Korean Zombie in that camp. He got a lot of good people. Producer Pitbull, the Pitbull brothers. you know, he has a lot of good people with him and surrounded by him. I never thought Costa was ever that great. I'll be honest. I just thought he was like, I don't know about this guy. He still has something to prove, right? That's why I picked Yoel Romero to beat him. But here's the thing. One thing that Chael Sonnen said about him, and I liked. I'm gonna add that clip at the end, or I might add it in the middle, or whatever. When I add it, you'll see it, right? It's such a great clip. He basically he said that he wanted it more than anyone. If you just see the way how this guy goddamn trains, it's like he's a fucking animal. The question is, with all the greatness he surrounds himself with, is he that great? That's the honest question. Can he be that, right? And I think that's what we're gonna find out, and that's what we're gonna find out about him in the 4th and 5th rounds. Now to Adesanya, since we're talking about cardio, I could go off and talk about Adesanya's kickboxing pedigree, but we all know how good he is, and I think a lot of people know enough about Adesanya, so I don't really got to talk a lot about what he's good at and what he can do. The thing that separates him from Costa is 4th and 5th rounds. He's been there. He knows what it feels like. He's been there 3 times in his career. He's been there against Yoel Romero. He's been there against Kelvin Gastelum, and he's been there against Brad Tavares. One thing about this guy, I will give him 110%, is that he's a dog, right, when he needs to be, and he can get wild when he needs to be. When things are not going his way, you're not gonna fuck him. He's not a quitter. I'll give him that. As much as all the cringy shit he says and all the stupidity that comes out of his mouth and how fucking privileged he is in this company, I will say one thing: he's a goddamn dog. He got a dog in him. I'll give him that. And that Kelvin Gastelum fight, I was fucking parading. I was celebrating too early. I acted like I won the fight already. Or Kelvin won the fight. I didn't win the fight. That Kelvin won the fight already because I picked Kelvin to beat him. And he came out there and just put it on the line. Like, he was having that whole entire fight. He was having real trouble of getting Kelvin off of him. He was really being on his back foot. His footwork wasn't really working. Kelvin did a really good thing in that fight. If you look at Kelvin's feet, that hop step, really, even Adesanya talked about how he's able to get within distance of him. Just get really close and hammer him with that fucking 1-2 overhand. And had a really good pullback counter with his head where he went back and then hit him with a 2, right? But after that, he was like, you know what? I'm gonna be in the pocket with you. And I'll give him one thing: he's not bad in the pocket, but it's just not his forte. He doesn't like being there. He doesn't like risking it. And he put it. They fucking gunslinged in there, and Adesanya said, I am gonna come out with this title. I am not gonna lose to you. And he took Kelvin out. He had like 3 knockdowns in the last minute of that round. That's how you can tell someone wants that fucking belt. And that's what separates him. He has better cardio. No matter what you say, you can't deny that. That's the one thing that fucking irks me about this fucking fight, that this guy has this fucking advantage. I don't like Adesanya. I'm telling you that straight up. But I can say one thing: that's what makes him elite from a really good contender, right? That's the problem. That's why I love when guys have 5-round fights before they get a title shot, right? Because I want to see how they're just like Zabit. I really want to see him in a 5-round fight. We haven't seen that yet, right? We haven't seen Costa in those 4th and 5th. We don't know how he's going to react. But at the end of the day, even though I know Adesanya has that advantage, it is fuck Adesanya in this household. We don't fuck with him, and I'm going Costa. Here's my thing. I don't know if he can be great, but here's my thing. When you surround yourself with all that greatness, right, I think he can fucking do it, all right? And I believe in Costa. I'm sick and tired of the goddamn pink hair to the blonde hair. I don't know what the fuck the guy's going to do next. I'm tired of him. I'm tired of this bullshit run. I don't want to see it any longer. I hope you get it done, Costa. We're all praying for you, bro. Fucking knock this fool out, man. Please do it for the fucking culture. And yeah, that's my prediction, y'all. I hope I gave a pretty decent breakdown of this fight. But yeah, go follow me on Instagram, on Twitter. Like, comment, and subscribe. Go tell me how retarded I am. And see y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And eBay is out.
Costa. I met him on the set of Ultimate Fighter 3 Brazil. I coached that opposite Vanderlei Silva. We would all watch him. He'd be the first one in the gym, he'd be the happiest one to be there, and he'd be the last one to leave. Plus, he was strong. But when you see that strength, that natural strength and athleticism mixed with that hunger, and I can tell you in 2014, he wasn't wildly talented. He was strong and he was athletic and he was hungry. He was motivated. But he wasn't wildly talented. He didn't show up with a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He didn't show up with like a Golden Gloves background. He wasn't a national team member in wrestling. But you could see that hunger.